so 35 years in the business. We identified an opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, the background of me getting into housing started way back. I picked it up in 1991. I was invited to the US by the United States government under a program called EI, Entrepreneur International.
Okay.
I think now it's done through Yali and so many other programs. The name has changed.
Okay.
But at the time, it was called Entrepreneur International. So they would make a tailor-made program for me. I spent about 3 months in the US.
Okay.
And one of the things that they will do is they will look at your area and then attach you to a business similar. So I was attached to a developer in Las Vegas, and I worked there. And then later I went to Atlanta, Georgia, then to Miami, then attended the Home Builder Show.
Okay.
So, but when I was in Las Vegas, I saw this type of development. I thought, wow, how can I take this back home? And actually, that was the purpose of the program. So when I came back in 1991, that was when I built Career Bajan. And then later I built Tafa Maisonettes.
Yeah.
You know, then gradually now I moved into housing development. Housing development started with a very controversial one called Njie. I don't know whether you remember.
Njie, the one by the Yundum?
No. That was afterwards. I mean, it was, you know, where my building is, Tafa Twins.
Tafa Twins, yes.
And the electoral, that land there.
Yes.
Was first allocated to me under Jame.
Okay.
Yes, and it was very controversial. And some public officers were fired. That's for another day. And then I migrated to developing Yarambamba. Yarambamba with 210 units. You know, Fatu, you know how much those houses were being sold for? Completely ready, everything?
Yes.
$190,000.
In those days?
Yes, in 2000.
The house and the building?
Everything.
Wow.
You know, then we did Brufut. Brufut now is about 600 units. And then after 2018, 2016, when there was a change of government, we did Dalaba, we did something in Njie. But then now my big vision of to develop 1 million homes across the continent of Africa came with the concept starting here at home with Tafa City.
With Tafa City.
Yes.
Now, before we go there, you talked about controversies. Obviously, controversies, the kind of work you do comes with a lot of that, because you would need land to develop to be able to do. Even the 1 million houses you're talking about, how do you deal with something like that? Because you acquire these properties and they'll build on it. But in the process, you have to deal with people thinking that you're taking their properties, you're taking their land. How do you deal with all of those controversies?
See, all of them pour explain loolu.
Wow.
Apart from that, success comes with a price.
It does.
And there's no anywhere in the world. It's not only an African issue. I remember I follow Richard Branson when he was taking over Virgin Rails.
Yeah.
You know, when he took the rails and then it was Southwest or something, and then it was called Virgin. A lot of controversies.
Yeah.
And that's the price you have to pay to being an entrepreneur. Because people see you, you know, as an individual. But there's nothing in this world that God Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doesn't put on one head. When he wanted to bring Islam into the world, it went through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he had opposition. Yeah. It's a price you pay for success.
It does.
So, kuragal chow, bul duga si business, bul teki.
Bul teki.
Teki ak chow more under.
More under.
Oh yeah, no. Because Limada is based on my conscience. I am very, very aware of what the other side thinks about me.
Yeah.
And I take consideration. I'm not infallible.
Yeah.
I make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I go over them. Après, so what if a mistake? Do ko de nyaka demal wona dama mistake. Lolu si leadership la boka, si njit la yalla boka. So amé error, bul musa baña delu war gannaaw ne balal len ma de ni la ko helate wala dama joom. And that I have.
Yeah. A lot of communities will say Tafa Kanale, especially in Omandinga Kanale na Kenulta. But what do you say to those communities? What does Tafa City or Tafa Estate bring to a community?
Fatou, you know, let me tell you seriously, the winners in all this are those communities. They will never tell you. You know, today, there was a land we negotiated, and we paid $1 million. So they come and sell you a land. It's a commodity.
It's a commodity.
Like everything else. The fisherman that goes to ship for fishing goes there, takes the risk, gets the fish, and then sells it to a middleman. Then the middleman takes it, sells it to the guy who sits in the market. So why are you blaming the person? And they must make a profit.
Profit.
Everybody sells a product.
Yeah.
You are selling your product.
Yes.
People pay you for advertisement.
Yes.
But why is it a shame to make profit?
Profit.
Everybody makes profit from a business.
That's true.
I'm not an NGO. But today in this country, the community, they sell you land. And in general, when they sell you land, at times they're even divided amongst themselves
Yeah.
on who should sell the land. Now, obviously, there's only value in land when it is developed.
Yes.
So here, 5 years ago, the price of land cannot be the same as today.
No.
So I take the risk as Tafa Africa Global. We come in here, we do everything to bring it to the stage. Now somebody says, oh, you're taking community land. But communities sold it.
Yeah.
And they approach you. People approach us every day. Oh, please, I want to sell this. And you sell them. So it's a general trade.
Yeah.
So we don't have any issues with this. It's a basis of economics of supply and demand. We are on the demand side. You are on the supply side. And there's value. We agree. We make sure all the paperwork is done, signed, sealed, and done.
In business, when people sell you land, sometimes you'll say, "Fii dafa sori." When it comes to yen, I'm not for sorry for yen as a business developer. Sometimes, because fee hamna bingen ko don jinda, when you were buying this, nobody thought it would be something like this today. So for that entrepreneur who sees a land somewhere in C4 or somewhere, what is your advice to them?
You know, let me tell you about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, it's about those who can identify challenges and turn them into opportunities. And that's what a good entrepreneur does.
Yeah.
Me, everywhere I go on development, look at it. The time that we went to Yundum, nobody wanted Yundum.
Yeah.
The time we went to Burfoot, nobody wanted Burfoot. Now we are here in Gunjur, when we are coming, up to now, some people are saying it's too far.
Yeah.
But wait in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, people will start regretting it. But not only in the Gambia. If you go to Sierra Leone, we are 1 hour drive away from Freetown. That's John Obi. If you go to Port Harcourt, we are also 1 hour drive away from the main city. So for us, the size of land that we want, we cannot have it in a developed area already. We have to go out in the open. And remember, even, I don't know whether you know, in Faraba now, we have land in Faraba that we have done into sites and services. Sold out in 24 hours.
Wow.
I think people are becoming more aware of this, that look, wherever Tafa goes, development is there. Actually, I flew together with a young man on a flight when I was coming from Saudi. And he said, Uncle Tafa, I must tell you something. Me, the moment you go to an area, I rush and buy it next to you. Because I know that the value will go up.
Yeah.
But that's a reality because we dictate the terms. We bring in the services. And we build value. So we don't have a problem. Those who can see into it will now buy into it.
Yeah.
But those who can't, it's rather unfortunate, they will regret it.
Yeah. Now let's look at this place, Tafa City. This is my first time. And I'm amazed. I'm surprised about what I've seen, the vision. How did it come about? How did the Tafa City idea come about?
You know, Fatou, every good leader, the best of leader is somebody with a vision. And then yàlla musal si njiit lu amul vision. And xam nga lan mooy vision. mooy ki nga xam ne mun ngaa gis ay at ci kanam mu mel ni nataal boo teg bi de vidéo boo teg. Loolu every leader needs it, regardless of wherever you are. If you are a political leader, religious, business, social, whatever. That is why you are a leader. That's why people follow you. Not everybody has it.
You must have a vision.
Yeah, you must have a vision. You must close your eyes and you can see a finished product ages, years ahead. That's why you are here with Kerfatu.
Yeah.
You remember when you first started?
Yeah.
With all the equipment that you have, people that you employ, where you are today, the followers you have.
Yeah.
You must have had that vision that you can do it and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Gomsa bopa.
Gomsa bopa.
Man loolu dama mun naa see maye sax ni ma gomee suma bopa.
Yeah.
Dama ci doyal.
Hakañ.
Boobu moom. Lu neex waay na def waaye I have that confidence. And not only in the Gambia, at the international level. But li tax ngay gom sa boppam mooy da ngaa préparé. You go through that apprenticeship. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
People don't know my background. Me, for example, I have traveled to 36 African countries.
Wow.
I have met numbers of presidents. And when I negotiate like, hey, man to man. You on my terms. But that doesn't happen overnight.
That doesn't overhappen.
So you build that confidence, which is one of the values of a leader. And then you allow musal si njit lu amul confidence. You have to have confidence. So that's one of the things that I believe in, and you can only do it when you can create value. So we are confident that we can create value. So everywhere I go, back to your question, that's what we have, to deliver a product like this. It's a vision that I developed actually in it started coming into me after 2012.
Wow.
In 2012, I went to Nigeria. And so buggee xam kan mooy Tafa Africa Global. Demal Nigeria. Di nga gis du dara.
Wow.
Te nga loolu lan la?
Waaw.
Loolu sunna la. Yonent bi Makka la juddoo.
Waaw.
Waaye soo buggee xam yonent bi tigi.
Waaw.
Mu nga tëdd Medina.
Medina.
Tafa Africa Global.
Waaw.
Medina lañ ñu nga tëdd Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt.
Soo demee Port Harcourt koo xamoon Port Harcourt ni mel.
Waaw.
ak li fa nekka da nga ne lii mënut a am.
loolu su ma la gisee Nigeria loolu daf ma dee jaaxal because ak Nigerian néeg yu ñoo gis Nigeria the kind of houses li nga fa dee gis ak the talent in Nigeria naka nga mun a penetrate the Nigerian market foofu bëgg naa faa ñëw. trop waaye dama bëgg ñu jeexal because that is something that daf ma dee jaaxal lu bari. a Gambian doing that well in Nigeria daf ma dee jaaxal. but Taf City fii. dama bëgg nga wax ñu lan moo fi nekka fii naka la ñëwee ak tey lii concept bi.
well liñ xam rek mooy comme li ma la wax rek. it's demand driven. dañ xam suñ client yi liñ bëgga.
Wow.
What is it? Anybody in any business that you go into, first you must identify the needs of your client. If you don't understand them, then you cannot sell them a product.
Yeah.
So that we do a lot of research. People should know this. That we do a lot of research. All the things you see me in my social media presence, whatever, it's all based on gathering data. Data is key.
It's key.
We collect a lot of data, we analyze them, and we build our strategy towards that. So yes, we understand that. Look, this is what our clients want, and we give a variety. Here some of the houses they are as small as 49 square meters, 7 by 7. I do know that people say, "Oh, they're too small, whatever," but it is sold. And then we create a variety. You can start from the bare minimum, going up to a house like this.
Yeah.
This is the biggest that we have.
Okay.
But it's all demand driven, and we understand our market, and it's across the board. It's not only here, but across the countries we operate.
Okay. Now, I want to come back to a question I asked Binneke chi design of Taf City.
Yeah, the model, yeah.
Gis naa la in Sierra Leone, gis naa la in Nigeria. You are providing affordable housing to the less privileged. The kind of kër yu ma gis daf ma fàttali bi nga def Yarambamba. Kër yu yoo xam ne low income earners yi ñoo ko mun a afford. But that is PPP with governments. Taf fii nga juddoo fii nga sante baax fii li nga am yëpp fii la dooree. Lu tax mënuñoo am housing like that. Dama dee wax ne dëkk du mun a develop su dee our security officers, our low income earners, government civil service bi mënuñoo amal seen boppa kër. Tey da ngaa gis Gambien boo xam ne retire na amul sax kër fi mu dëkka. Loolu lu ko waral suñu économie bi dafa ndaw. But governments yu passé mënuñoo am those opportunities. You as a Gambian, you're doing this with other governments. Why are you not doing that in the Gambia?
Okay. Now Fatou, manjika la waxal, I mean, pour wax a different housing, type of housing, yi nga muna am.
Yeah.
Dafa am lu ñoo social housing. We are not playing in that sector. Because loolu dafa ñu way naa ci duga parce que affaire housing lañ nekk. Après nga am what we call now affordable housing. We are more for the middle class people.
Okay.
And then you now have the upper, comme ñuy def ay apartment yi gis léegi li xew Gambia ñu bari nga sa pay apartment. That's luxury. Boobu beneen strata la. So dama ko bëgg rek divide. Let me divide it into these three stratas. Now in social housing, it must be led by government. Recently, I saw President Barrow visit a housing project in Kenya in Nairobi. I think it's called the Mukuru or Mukuku housing project. But that project there, it's all being financed by government. The structures were there before even the current president. So they have now set up an initiative, and it's on rent to own. So you rent it out, and and then it's in the slum area. In Nairobi they have a lot of slums.
Yeah.
So they rejuvenate now these slums, but that's for another day. But if you want to successfully address the lower cadre of society, it's not new in this country. There are people who are responsible. There are bodies that are responsible, and Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation must play its part. It has been there.
Yeah.
The first housing project, there was a success story. I think it was a grant from the Norwegians, and that's backwater housing. Backwater housing project was under Social Security, and it was given on mortgage to its members.
Yeah.
And everybody who works in this country now, you are a member of one sort of fund or the other pension fund with the Social Security.
Yeah.
So therefore, the funds that Social Security is collecting, it's from the workers themselves.
Yeah.
So why are they asking me, private, and not asking Social Security and government? So they are responsible.
Yeah, I understand that.
the housing arm of government.
Yeah.
But I'll come to my own the PPP that I do.
Okay.
So now, in terms of addressing those categories of society, that is mostly done successfully through a government or quasi-government institution like Social Security. And that's why it says Social Security and Housing Finance Institution.
Yeah.
So now, I think government, but all the same, there can be a partnership.
There can be a partnership.
And we had actually signed an MOU the time that Mohamed Majang was there to do a partnership on the delivery of housing.
Oh.
And I said this in my interview with the government. Yes, in 2018. We signed an MOU. But the only problem I have here in general, I would say this honestly in Gambia, is that the government bodies don't work together. So we signed with Social Security an MOU trying to move ahead on a partnership on delivering affordable housing to that category of people. But then some people from the Public-Private Partnership Office at the Ministry of Finance said, no, they cannot sign with us without going through them. They are the ones responsible for public-private partnership. So it was killed. Simple as that.
Just like that?
Yes. So we are not interested anymore. You get really tired of things like that. So I think really moving ahead, because me, Fatu, what I want to do all the time, I'm not trying to throw stone on anybody. But let us look at our mistake. What is it that we are doing wrong and we rectify it for the benefit of all?
Yeah.
As you asked the question, why is Tafa Africa Global partnering with the River State government in Nigeria? Why partnering with the Sierra Leonean government and successfully delivering it and not doing it here?
Yeah.
So therefore, we must look at what is not being done right here and rectify it. Why? And again, it shouldn't be Tafa Africa Global.
Yeah.
Any developer.
It can be any developer. Yeah.
That wants to partner with government to do it. They should set the way for it to be done. Now, let me tell you a good example why there is a difference. Business is in general, it's cost plus margin. You must make a profit, otherwise we are not here.
Yeah.
But the cost, you cannot play around with the cost. But a major difference between Nigeria is the most affordable houses that we sell. For example, a finished house, a 3-bedroom, which is quite big, we sell in Nigeria for about $40,000. Here, it's about double, about $80,000. But VAT in Nigeria is 7.5%. Gambia is 15%.
Oh, so those things determine
the matter is the cost. There's nothing I can do about it. Every material that you see in this house has attracted 15% VAT. Everything that's imported into the Gambia attracts 15%. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't collect it. That's
no, but these are some of the reasons why
the cost is there.
High.
So if I go to Nigeria, maybe whatever happened, I don't know why, but I pay 15%. Now, labor is cheaper and more accessible in Nigeria than here.
Wow.
The cost of other materials, for example, chippings like basalt and all these things, much more affordable. It's not nobody's fault, but here, if I want to use basalt, it has to be ferried from Senegal to here on a truck across the ferry and then comes in here. So these are all the reasons. Corporate tax now in Nigeria and Sierra Leone is on a public-private partnership. So government gives me incentives to do this. So first, I don't buy the land. Here I bought the land.
Yeah.
And here also, once you buy the land, there are other taxes that you pay. I will not get into all that. That's too long. But I buy the land here at market price, whilst my development in the other 2 countries, government contributes the land.
Yeah.
And what they get back in return, we form what we call an SPV, a special purpose vehicle. So it's a company that is formed.
Yeah.
And in this company, I take the majority shares as Tafa Africa Global. That is a condition.
Yeah.
So government, because of contributing the land and what they get back for their people, they are minority shareholders. They normally only sit at the board, at the board level, but everything else it's done by Tafa Africa Global. So for that reason, those houses are more affordable than here. That is the reality.
But the objective is to make it affordable for the ordinary citizen.
Yes. That is the reality. But even in Nigeria and Sierra Leone, to be quite honest, some will still complain that they cannot afford it. But commodities all over the world, you cannot, and even housing all over the world, you cannot provide housing for all.
All of them.
But what you will do is to provide incentives so that you can lower it as much as possible. But yes, there is a big room for government to look into housing delivery. And one of the most efficient ways is through public-private partnerships. And it should be done by any developer, not necessarily with Africa Global, but any developer. They should set the structure. What is the policy? They should set a policy that, okay, we want to do this, and this is the way we're going to do it. And anybody who can compete and get it well and good. Well and good. Yeah.
Now, you have been in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I think that after Senegal, Nigeria was the first country. You went to Nigeria, and then in Sierra Leone. But the way you have penetrated the Nigerian market, what is the secret? Because again, if we're looking about for beautiful homes, it's Nigeria. Yeah. They have the expertise, they have the manpower, they have the resources. How are you able to penetrate the Nigerian market that way?
Well, again, we do a lot of research in general. Any project that we do a market research. We hire consultants, that's in general. We just go there and start building. So when we went into Nigeria, again, I always want to mention somebody and how it happened and how business can happen at times.
Yeah.
It was Alpha Barry, Deloitte, who was on a plane flying to South Africa, and he met somebody on business class, and they were chatting. Long story short, that was how I came to Nigeria. This man said, look, we want to develop this in Nigeria. And they said, oh no, Alpha said, I have a friend, a brother, who I think can do this. So they came here. Wow. They came and visited everything I did here. Those days, Burfoot, the AU villas. And they were just amazed that, there's an African that can do this.
Yeah.
So I was invited, and I went and I met the governor. And also Locke. Fatou, let me just stop there. Such projects, for it to succeed, the most important is political will.
Political will.
You must, politically, those at the top, at times the executive, must be convinced that he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's the one, once he's convinced, everybody else, they follow through.
Yeah.
So we were lucky that the governor at the time in River State, it was about 2010 to 12.
Yeah.
2010, 2012. He was very much, he was a bulldozer. Whatever he wants to do, he gets it done. He gave the support, again, through their public-private partnership. We negotiated like this structure, and it was implemented. Now, the area that I was in Trans Amadi, it's a waterlogged area. And when it was high tide, you can have water as high as 2 meters deep.
That's high.
So we had to sandfill that land. We sandfilled it with 850,000 cubic meters of sand.
That's a lot.
And we dredge. We dredge about 2 kilometers away. Put a dredger there, dredge it, pump it, consolidate, compact the soil, and then build on it. Now again, it's based out of knowledge. Fatu ham fala rawante bi neka.
Okay.
Loy defati am ci ham.
Yeah.
And again, not that I am boasting, but these days I like to blow my own trumpet because I have my trumpet.
Well,
definitely. Kuko bañ nga uti sa mbilim nga fuuf.
Definitely.
Xam nga dëkk bi fu nga neka. Ah? Bu ko emele ñop mënu mo em.
Dédé ñëpp emuñ.
Fi mu nekk nii Fatou moo xala foofu rek 50 years this year maa ngi liggéey 50
years
kon dama ñu nekk si room bi yëpp kenn amagul sax lu jegeñ loolu. I started working in 1975. So duma laaj fi nga nekkoon bàyyi noonu rek.
I was not born.
So anyway, so really knowledge plays a part, experience plays a part, and I've worked with and done my apprenticeship. But anyway, fast track Nigeria. So I went there, did the right studies, did the right marketing. Apparently, I want to add something fatu. I didn't worse than Siboka.
Wow.
Luck, Bulaken plays a part. Some are more lucky than others. Telo mu lucky dara ci suñu borom bi la joggé. Waye nak waxuma xalé yi ne, xam nga ma wax xalé yi. Bu len togué dama xar suma wursak de. Wursak comes with efforts.
It comes with effort.
But I think, Leader, if you analyze, when you go back after what we did in Nigeria, we were also lucky.
Yeah.
Because I went in there when the currency was strong. It was about 160 naira to $1. By the time we finished the project around 2017, 2018, the naira was almost 600.
Wow.
You know, from 160 to 600. But today, guess how much it is? It is
How much?
1,000, almost 700.
Double or triple, yeah.
Yes. But anyway,
Yeah.
we were lucky that happened. We were lucky that there was a demand. And yes, we built it. But let me tell you what is very interesting in the project we built there. It's called the Riftaf Golf Estate.
Riftaf, yeah.
40 hectares, 1,200 units, you know, out of this world. Even the Nigerians couldn't believe that this could be done. But I took there 400 Senegalese and Gambians.
Wow.
You know Keba Jang, the guy that you just saw in there? They
Yeah.
were the engineers. There were at least 12 young engineers from Gambia that I took there. Because those were the ones who built the AU villas.
Villas, yeah.
You know, some have moved on. They've had their own companies now, you know, which we encourage.
Yeah.
But I realized when I went to Nigeria also that the skills that I wanted, that the speed that we wanted to work, was they didn't have the capacity at the time in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
Because Port Harcourt, security-wise, it's a problem.
Yes.
You have to be very careful. I mean, if you see me in Port Harcourt, I move with 2 bodyguards with Kalashnikovs. I drive a bulletproof car. Security, it's an issue.
Yeah.
So yes, but I had to bring in, you know, some Senegalese who are very skillful. Some of them are still there. They work. They've now gone into the country they are working. But it's life and migration.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what we did in Port Harcourt. But then fast track to where we are now. I have been called in by the new governor because after Rotimi Amici in 2012, he left. Then Wike, another governor, came, left. I was still there. But then this new governor, who's called Sim Fubara, came in, and then somebody, obviously, they know me in Port Harcourt. And he wanted to do something on affordable housing. So they called me in. It was last year, this time, in December 3rd or so.
Okay.
I got a call from somebody who knew him. And honestly, I didn't want to go. You know, I was very contented with what I'm doing here.
Okay.
So I wanted to make it difficult for them so that they will say no.
Okay.
So normally we do our study, what we wanted to do, and we were looking at maximum maybe 200 hectares to replicate something like this. So I said, look, let me just ask an astronomical number that they will say no. So I said, my minimum land I will accept is 1,000 hectares. And guess what?
And
they say yes.
Wow.
And then the governor said, he called me personally, the governor.
Yeah.
And he said, my brother, you have to come.
Wow.
So I had no choice. I flew over, I went. Within 3 days, we signed an MOU. And then he asked me, when do you want to start? I said, well, after the Christmas, because Christmas is coming close.
Yeah.
I will come in after. He says, no. I want to lay the foundation stone before Christmas. So we laid the foundation stone, and then he asked again, when are you going to start proper? He says, in January, he wants works to start. We started in January. Now, from January 2024 to date, there are 600 houses already up.
Wow.
600. But what we are doing there, it's what we call semi-finished.
That is because there's a political will.
Yes, political will and support. And you know, and many other things. But you know, Nigeria is unique. And we know what is very unique about Nigeria? Today, I don't have one single Gambian working for me in Nigeria. They are all Nigerians. My management team that control the whole project. I have not been to Nigeria for almost now about 3 months.
Because you have a good team.
Oh, of course, I delegate. So there's not a single Gambian today that is now representing me in Nigeria. I go in and out, you know, and it's the biggest project that we're doing.
Interesting. You're also in Sierra Leone.
Yes, we're in Sierra Leone.
How big is that project?
It's 5,000 houses we're building. 5,000, and in a very nice parcel of land. In that parcel alone, we're building about 1,000, 1,200 in John Obey, something similar to this. And we call that a micro city because there's only 1,000 houses.
Yeah.
So they're going to give us other parcels of land. So far, we started again about 18 months ago. No, less than 18 months ago. We've sold quite a lot, but we're going to deliver end of 2025. But the infrastructure is all done. I was there last week, and the minister was there and was surprised at what we have done. Again, I am pleased to say that in Sierra Leone, the general manager is Anita C. Anita, Gambian lady,
yeah.
who was our marketing officer here, head of marketing, today is managing the whole project.
In Sierra Leone.
So when I tell people that I'm retired, they don't know you're not retired, but I am an active retiree.
Okay.
You know what the secret is, Fatu? Most of the times I don't get out of my house before 10 o'clock. So I do my Fajr prayers.
Yeah.
So after my Fajr prayers, you know, I belong to the Tijaniya Brotherhood. So I do my wazifa and then I do my wird. And I go back to bed. I sleep all up to about 9:30.
10:30.
So I sleep very well.
Okay.
So when I'm out, that's the way I get my energy.
Wow.
So when I'm out here, as you know, the business is being run by my daughters,
Yeah.
all girls, and a good team. I have a very young team. So I am not very fussy about the way things are doing. I don't micromanage. Again, you know, the last time I signed my checks as a primary signatory, 20 years ago.
That's what I was going to ask, you know, but you just explained. How do you manage? You are in Nigeria, you are in Sierra Leone, you are in Gambia, and you have all of this, but you also have a very active life. How do you manage all these businesses as an individual?
One, trust.
Okay.
Trust is developed out of what you give. You know, I study my team very well. I empower them, I train them, and I develop, there's a trust between them. And I leave them to perform. And the issue about trust and managing all this comes out of corporate governance. Because we are a corporate body. My business is bigger than me or Tafa Africa Global. I was just the founder. And one day I'm going to go.
Yeah. And
you wish that it will stay. So you must prepare yourself now as if you're not here. So for me, what happened to me was way back around 2004. Mr. Modu Senghor, who's like our elder brother, he was the MD of Shell, Texaco, and then Shell, and then later to Nigeria. I got to a point at the time, I knew that this business was growing bigger than me. So I invited him over to come and do a consultancy just for corporate structure.
Yeah.
So he did it, and it was very well done. And I asked him, please, if he can help by coming to be like working with us. So he came in, and there was there and then that he put in all the corporate structures. So I am not a signatory to any check or any account. I am a general manager, or I'm an MD, a CEO. But the general manager signs, and then the head of finance signs, and that is done. I am mostly given a summary of executive summary. And these days with WhatsApp, I get everything. And then with technology. For example, in Nigeria, they will do all the finances, but I get an alert from the bank for confirmation. And that Tuesday, I can do it even up in the air. When I'm flying, there's always Wi-Fi. If my banker sends me an SMS, Mustafa, can you confirm XYZ? I go, 3 buttons, and it's done.
It's done.
So that is the thing, really. I mean, I trust my team across every country. But this is built over time.
So, you know, a lot of these developers in the housing industry, we've seen a lot of them have partnerships, and that's what we have seen here, like a lot of the companies. Does Tafa Africa Global also have those kind of partnership when you build kan mo neka sa ganaw? Because all of these things munta neka Tafa rek, huh? All these houses that you're building, do you have partnerships that support you behind to make Tafa Africa Global where it is today?
No, we don't have any foreign partner, and that's deliberate. It's a point we're proving. I mean, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I am on a mission to prove that we can do it as Africans. And a good example, I remember again around 2000, very early 2000, Amadou Toumani Touré, the former president of Mali, came here on a state visit, and he drove past Yarambamba, and there in the car he asked the president, Yaya Jammeh, that look, who did this? He says, well, it's a Gambian who's doing it. And then he asked, who are his partners? You know, he said, no, he doesn't have partners. He's doing it. He said, no, I want to see this man. So immediately I was asked to go and see him at the hotel in Kairaba Hotel. So I saw him. He asked me the same question. Do you have some Spanish you are working with or Italian? I said, no, it's my company. I do everything. So he invited me to Mali. So So I went to Mali and met him, and I have a very good story about that one.
Yeah.
That was how I learned French. So I went to Mali. It was around 2003, going to 2004, and in his office there were only two of us. He only spoke French. I only spoke English. So I struggled. I struggled with my Form 2, Form 3 French.
French, yeah.
It was tough. But again, for me, that's not what I do. The next thing was, I went into a French lesson in Villefranche-sur-Mer. It's by Nice.
Okay.
And by Monte Carlo. I went there on a course, intensive French course to learn French. And I started speaking French.
Wow.
So this is it. So yes, and I went to Mali also to do some projects, but it didn't materialize.
Okay.
You know. So again, I want to remind the young ones all the time about success. I have failed woefully.
Yes.
Over and over again. Senegal, for example.
Senegal, yes.
Senegal, I have tried everything. Actually, Serigne Boub said it. My brother, you saw him at
yes.
Espace Auto. We gave him Espace Auto. We three of us went to Senegal.
Yeah.
Akim Ibu Masamba, my cousin,
Yeah.
Bregwall, and Charbel and myself, we set up a company called Senegal Motors. We had the agency for Volkswagen in Senegal. 100% Gambian owned. But it was a bit tough, and we had to sell it to Serigne. And that's how Espace Auto came about. Serigne wasn't in automobile. Again, even in Jamñajo, I owned some warehouses there, and I sold it to Mohamed Silla. He's doing some steel there now.
Okay.
I built, there was an immeuble in Point 1 that we started also. Senegal has been difficult. Even recently with the Sonko government, they've approached me with Fonds d'Habitat Social to partner with them. They've been here to see this.
Yeah.
But it's been tough working in Senegal.
Do you want to try it again?
I'm not sure.
You're
but
not yet sure?
You never say never.
Never say never.
Maybe on a partnership we'll try, because we have a lot of hope with Sonko.
Yeah.
You know, me, I have believed in Sonko from day one.
Yeah.
And lima wax rek moy yalla bu yakar tas.
Yalla bu yakar.
Yakar gi ñu am ci Sonko.
Definitely.
Ak teamam bi. Yalla bu yakar tas.
Ñom buñ tassé rek Afrika yépp la mo affect.
Afrika suñ jaaré ci yoon rek Afrika yépp liñ bëgg ci Afrika yakar na ñi mën nañ ko commencer. Nga na ñaanal daal.
Na inshallah.
Yeah.
Now, dem nga ci dëkk yi Senegal, Mali, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, obviously Gambia. How would you describe the business environment in these countries compared to what you have in Gambia?
Today, pour fekk tey la may judge, because I'm going to operate in these three countries.
Three countries.
Gambia, Senegal, and Nigeria.
Yeah.
Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. Business for me, the business environment, and specifically in River State, is Nigeria.
It's Nigeria.
Because xam nga Nigerians, dañu utee ak the rest of Africans. Nigerians dañu gëm seen bopp.
Yeah.
That you have to give to them.
Yes.
They believe in themselves.
They believe they are the number one people in the world.
Après am loo xam ne Nigerians day amuñ ko. Seen vocabulary. Nigerians añaanuñ. Ñun nag fii ñu ma baaral si wax ji rek. Daf fi xalaat nekk la trop. Dañ la seet. Well, instead of ñu gis Tafa Africa Global as a corporate body. Ak lu moo def dañoo seet Moustapha Njie. Xam nga dama day wax dara si kaf rek. Ne Gambia mooy dëkk boo xam ne. Man maa ngi dem school bi maa dugg primary school it must be about now 60 years ago. Gis nga am na koo xam ne xëy na jote woon ngeen ba ngeen nekkee primary school.
Du ko mos a fàtte.
Tey soo amee dara sax loolu laa bàyyi xel.
Du ko fàtte de.
Te warloo ko am ngir loolu. Si loolu si kaf la rek waaye at a certain degree again soo gisee ñu def interview yu mel ni Fatou. Mooy rek pour nit ñi ak xale yi. dañ war a jóg si loolu. dañ war a jóg si loolu xam ne barke ak tekki ak loo gis mu rëy rek dafa commencé si benn nit. du man rek Moustapha Njie. soo seetee tey the richest black man in the world. Aliko Dangote. Aliko Dangote li moo def Nigeria du Nigeria rek soo seetee Afrique yëpp li mu fee def. te benn nit la rek. Aliko suma morom la. Aliko is also 67 now. Going to 68. Fi mu nekk nii for example the refinery that he is building or he has built in Nigeria. The refinery loolu lu xaalisam it's all debt. $19 billion. Ay Indians ñoo ko ronal lu nekk. You know so loolu lañ si bàyyi xel daal fi gën a man in terms of business friendly today. I will choose Nigeria. Because I get things done and people get things done. It's rather unfortunate and again I want to appeal to especially our public servants. that we need to improve the business environment.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is that if you empower Fatou Touré or Mustafa Njie, that is how John Smith or a Chinese or a Nigerian or an Indian, they will now see that, okay, you are empowering your own people, then they will come in.
Yeah.
So we should really try and improve on this. It's not only about me, Mustafa Njie. Man, I have a choice.
Yeah.
Today my business is very small in this country. Despite always what you see here, it's only 15% of my global business.
15%?
15%.
What?
85% of my business is outside of the country.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, but it's the size.
It's the size of our economy too. Also.
Mane, suñu la ne Mustafa Njie dafa ñuul kenn xasula. Man dama ñuul cook. Man dama ñuul loolu ko xasla. Gambia dafa tuuti.
Dafa tuuti.
It's not a market.
It's not. It's small.
dafa tuuti soo li ñu war def nag mooy waaye mun nañoo def mu rëy ni ñu ko defee mooy dafa am yu bari yooyu def da ngaa jàngee si dëkk yu mel ni ñoom Dubai da ngaa jàngee si dëkk yu mel ni ñoom Rwanda. lan lañ def ba tey ñu leen a coow. nañ def loolu. If you go to Rwanda, I have a business registered in Rwanda. So if you go to Rwanda, if you want to register a business, you don't have to move from one office to the other.
It's one-stop
Within a short time, boom, it's done.
One-stop shop.
I was just telling Alpha when we were coming in the car that Rwanda, plastic is banned. So if you come to the airport with your suitcase wrapped, before they load it on the belt, conveyor belt,
it has to be removed.
They have a knife. They have a knife and a scissors. And they remove it.
Wow.
Zero plastic. And here, we achieved it at one time when Jammeh was here.
Yeah.
Why is now the whole place being littered with plastic? It should be enforced.
It should be enforced.
So these are the issues that we need to take into account. So that's your question. For me, in terms of business friendly, I will choose Nigeria.